All right, so you might notice that things look a little different right now. We're having some technical difficulties with our production team, so to speak. Nevertheless, Locked On USC is here to bring you another episode of Trojan News and Notes and Information with Locked On USC. All right, so you're not going to get any intro video, music, yada, yada, yada. I'm just going to kind of ramble through this and get you through this episode, and hopefully we'll be back up ready to roll with all the bells and whistles for our following episode. But again, if you are watching this on YouTube, you got to hit that subscribe button. It means a lot. Thank you so much. And again, thank you for making Locked On USC your first listen every day. Again, whether you are watching on YouTube or wherever you download your podcast, we are free. Okay, so here we go. Did you know that for the first time since 2010, USC went undefeated through the month of September? I mean, has it really been that long? Think about it. I know everybody is still stuck on the whole, we've had Clay Helton, we had sanctions, yada, yada, yada. But 12 years it's been since USC has been able to go a full month of September undefeated. I did not know that. So anyways, what a difference literally less than a year can make. I mean, at this point, last season, USC was looking for a new head coach, and Dante Williams was the interim head coach. By the end of September 2021, USC was sitting at 2-2, and they needed a really easy game following that thrashing that they had suffered at the hands of the Beavers in LA. We all know that USC avenged that loss this past Saturday. Wasn't pretty, but they got the job done. So they're 4-0 now, and once again, they need another easy win. But this time it's different. They need an easy win, or an easy game, I should say, so they can work out some of the different kinks that they need to fix. Obviously, offense wasn't working up to their potential last Saturday, and special teams can always use some extra attention. And if they can do that against a team that they should win or they should beat easily, I believe the line is like 23 and a half points. The starters better not be playing. The majority of the starters shouldn't be playing by the time the third quarter is halfway gone. That's just my opinion on it. Nevertheless, last year, USC's chicken soup after that Oregon State thrashing, USC got to travel to Colorado, and they were able to get the win. This year's remedy, I guess, for what we want to call it an ailing offense, let's welcome ASU to the Coliseum. The Sun Devils, so far in the month of September, they finished 1-3, and they're looking for a new head coach. So their interim head coach is their former running back, Sean Aguano, and he took over the program after Herm Edwards got dumped when ASU got dumped at home against Eastern Michigan. Eastern Michigan is not a good football program, and that's why Herm Edwards is no longer employed. He was dead man walking regardless. So the Sun Devils losing that game pretty much just pushed Herm's tenure in Tempe to the front and off the ledge. Again, this program, look, for as big of a mess as USC was at the end of September, ASU might actually be in worse shape when you compare the two programs. They have to replace, Herm Edwards, and they're not going to find a splashy hire name like USC was with Lincoln Riley. And secondly, they have sanctions looming over that program from the NCAA. And that goes back to, Herm Edwards just literally flaunting or, not even giving a crap about COVID in 2020. And literally, they were hosting recruits and having visits when everybody was supposed to be on lockdown. I mean, there are reports that they had assistant coaches driving back and forth between Arizona and California, bringing recruits back and forth. I mean, you want to talk about scandalous and just not giving a crap about anybody else in your conference? Hey, just win, baby, right? Well, they got caught. Anyways, the last time these two teams played, USC was playing, it was in Tempe, it was at night, and it was in front of a sold-out crowd, and USC was also playing their first game without Drake London. So it was a little further into the season. Nevertheless, USC, they weren't good. They weren't playing well. They were now going to be without Drake London. ASU won the game 31-16. And they had a running back at the time named Rashad White. He had 3 touchdowns in the game. 2 of them came in the fourth quarter, and he finished running, somewhere around 200 plus yards for the game. He literally left a footprint all over that USC defense, literally and figuratively speaking. Now, Utah just went into Tempe and they beat ASU 34-13. The Utes defense, they were able to hold the Sun Devils run game, their ground game, to, are you ready for this number? A net 6 net yards rushing. And they also collected a couple of interceptions. So while I'm not sure, SC's run D is ready to go, SC run D circa 2008, I can see this defense doing their job, and getting a couple of interceptions at the minimum, right? Look, USC has created 14 takeaways. 11 of those have come via the interception. So even though ASU's quarterback, Emory Jones, he did have a season high 261 yards. He was, I think, 21 for 36 on the game against Utah. But for the season, he is, he completes 60% of his passes. That's not bad, but he only has 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Those 2 interceptions obviously came in this last game against Utah. So on offense, ASU, they don't have a lot that's really going to make Alex Grinch kind of cower in the corner and wonder how is he going to stop this offense. You might recognize a couple of names. Xavier Valade, running back, he was on the team last year. He leads the team this year, 391 yards rushing on 60 attempts, and he's got 4 touchdowns. And then wide receiver Elijah Badger leads the passing game with 22 catches on the year, 293 yards and a touchdown. Oh, and by the way, I mentioned Valade is from, he transferred to ASU from Wyoming. He was teammates with Solomon Byrd. On defense, I think their playmakers are probably at the linebacker position. Merlin Robertson, local kid from Southern California, wanted to be a Trojan. USC didn't have a lot of interest. Nevertheless, he is probably their best defender. And then their other linebacker is Kyle Soel, he actually leads the team in tackles with 51 on the season. So I think everyone knows, or at least they should be reminded, USC linebacker Eric Gentry transferred from Arizona State. And, when he was there, in 2021, he was a consensus freshman All-American, first team All-American. Football Writers, ESPN.com, Maxwell Football Club, Pro Football Focus, Pro Football Network, he was a first team freshman All-American, according to all of those sites and publications. Not bad. So far, Eric has done nothing to say that he's not going to be a sophomore All-American. USC fans, you've been watching him play. You know exactly what I'm talking about. ASU, I'm sure, is watching film and going, wow, he got away. USC got a good one. I don't know how much he would help Arizona State this year, but he sure as hell wouldn't hurt. I think I feel very comfortable saying that. I just don't know if Arizona State has enough on offense this year to really keep up. Last week I was wrong. I hate saying it, but I was wrong. I predicted it would be an easy win in Corvallis, but I have a feeling that following the team's poor performance on offense last week, this is going to be a rough day for Arizona State this week. And another reason why the Trojans need to take this game, I don't want to say seriously, but yeah, I will say seriously, why they really need to just go in, take care of business. They have these next 2 weeks, they will be at home. Obviously, they got ASU, and then the following week, they've got Washington State. And after watching them a few games this year, that's a tricky game now. Still trying to figure out how they cooped it, how they gave that game away to Oregon, but they did. But they play defense. They are a fast defense. They are able to get pressure on the quarterback, and they just kind of make life miserable for the other team. And offensively, they run tempo. So again, USC should win that game. I'm getting ahead of ourselves here, but I'm just pointing out that these next 2 weeks, USC should really be at home, getting everything ironed out, getting Caleb Williams back on that train where he could do no wrong. So when they go to play Utah, I guess we'll call it in 3 weeks, they'll feel confident, ready to go, because they'll have 2 more wins under their belt playing at home. So again, knowing that ASU doesn't have a whole lot to threaten USC with, I kind of feel bad for Chris Claiborne, who is their linebacker coach over there. He's going to have to kind of suffer and deal with the wrath that is going to be USC's offense and defense. So I guess on a personal note, I just hope that Chris can escape that hot garbage dump that is Arizona State football right now. Hopefully by the end of the year, he will be able to pick and choose where he wants to go. So what can ASU do to make this game competitive? I don't know, run the ball, keep the clock moving, I guess, to shorten the game. And obviously, they want to be able to create some turnovers, some takeaways. Other than that, I'm not sure what they're going to do. They're just not a good team. In fact, I think Arizona State this year is going to challenge Colorado for the worst team in this conference. They're that bad. And if you've been watching Colorado play, they're not good either. Look, starting off the month of October with a win and improving to 3-0 in the Pac-10 +2 conference would be good, right? It's going to put them in such a better spot than this team was last year entering the month of October. I think that goes without saying. And in case you were wondering, USC's record in the month of October, historically, they are 318 wins to 124 losses and 19 ties. That's a 71% winning percentage. That'll get it done. I think so, right? Yeah, so again, I'm not sure what Arizona State's going to be able to do. They might, again, maybe USC kind of implodes. You thought you saw that happen last week. I don't see it happening 2 weeks in a row. I feel confident. Did you know that USC is averaging 42 points per game? And that 17 points of that is coming off of turnovers. So they've scored 169 points on the year. 69 of them have come through via the defense. That's an interesting statistic. ASU is just averaging as a team offensively 23 points per game. Defensively, USC is averaging, they're giving up only 18 points per game, 365 yards per game as a defense. I think that's pretty good. And we're hoping that they're going to continue to improve. That's the development we're looking to see in year one, new coaching staff and a bunch of new players. And I think we've seen that so far. Conversely, ASU, they give up 25 points per game, 377 yards, and 183 of that comes on the ground. So they can be ran on, and they're giving up just under 200 via the pass, probably because everybody's running on them. I would love to see USC have a really good balance, 250 on the ground, 250 to 275, maybe 300 through the air. And that's how this offense should be clicking every game, in my opinion. But again, the other team's going to help make that, help decide how things turn out. I don't know if ASU will be that team. Ooh, here's an interesting stat. We all know USC leads the country, plus 14 takeaways. I went over that. 11 of those are interceptions. They have yet to turn over the ball this year. But ASU, they've fumbled the ball 6 times so far. They've lost 4 of them. Their opponents have fumbled the ball 7 times. They have lost 0 fumbles. Now, I don't know. That is just some freaky bad bounces for ASU or just bad luck. But I've never seen that number before. Having the other team literally fumble the ball 7 times, but not lose it once. That's bad luck. Wow. So here's another thing that works for USC and against Arizona State. Arizona State is terrible. I mean, just terrible when they're faced with a 3rd down. Their conversion rate, 13 for 46. That's 28%. So far, their opponents have converted 40% of the time. And just to kind of put that into context for you, the Trojans convert 49% of the time when they're faced with 3rd down. Could be a long night for ASU. Really long night. Unless they keep the clock moving. Again, it's a 7:30 p.m. kickoff. I think everybody is going to appreciate if ASU keeps the clock moving. Yeah, those late night games, they're brutal. Everyone would agree. Even tailgating doesn't become fun because number one at USC, you can only tailgate 6 hours up before kickoff. So that means 1:30. Another story for another time. We're not going to get into that right now. Look. Oh, here we go. I went over the 3rd down conversions. So hey, maybe this is a game where the FC kickoff coverage continues to improve. The Sun Devils are only averaging just under 25 yards on their return. So either, when they receive it at the goal line, they're just getting to the 25. We saw against Oregon State, USC's kickoff coverage was pretty good. Now, the ASU does have a good kicker. In their last game, Carter Brown is his name, by the way. He had 2 field goals. He had a career-long 47-yarder. And so far, he's actually been perfect on the year. He's 6 for 6. I bring that up because ASU's red zone offense, they have scored 11 times out of their 13 attempts. However, only 5 of those are touchdowns. So Carter is he does a lot of scoring for ASU right now. And look, you are not going to be USC trading field goals against touchdowns. It's not going to happen. So I'm not going to waste any more time on this game. Again, I was wrong last week. I'm never wrong twice. Sarcasm. USC 56, ASU 20. ASU gets a 20 because USC is going to be playing their backups. And while they will not want to give up any meaningless scores, if they're playing early, I think ASU is going to. They got a lot of players on that roster that are from California. They're going to want to play well in front of the hometown folk. So, yeah, you know what? I can see them getting 20 points. If they have less than that, I won't be surprised either. All right. So it's probably too soon to tell, but the history books will tell the story. But the Neilon Nudge is gaining some traction as one of probably the best plays ever in USC history. He spoke to Brett spoke to the media after Tuesday's practice. You're watching this Wednesday because you're making Locked on USC your first watch and listen every day. And then when you're done with Locked on USC, you're heading right over to wearesc.com to get all of your USC football news and notes and information and recruiting stuff. Trust me, Scott Schrader, he's got some stuff going on over there. Go check it out. Back to Brett Neilon and the Nudge. Like I said, it's gaining some traction. He NIL, he's going to live it up. Go to his website, get his playing card. He's autographing it. The Neilon Nudge. He's earned it. But again, he spoke to the media after practice Tuesday, and he fessed up that the Bush push is probably the bigger play. Right now in history it is when you consider everything what was at stake. The winning streak. USC was in the middle of a 34-game winning streak. We know how that ended. The game was at Notre Dame. You never want to lose. So yeah, it was a really big game during a really good time to be a Trojan. But you know what? USC is they're trying to get those same vibes. It's real early, don't get me wrong. But so far, the 2022 football season has been special. And who knows where it's going to go. But this is what Brett said after Tuesday's practice when he met with the media for the first time since the game up in Oregon State. I just remember kind of pass proing on his initial responsibility for that play. I saw Caleb kind of get held up. Didn't really honestly know how close to the first down he was. I just kind of looked at him and I think he looked at me and I just ran full speed and hit him. I hit him pretty hard. Maybe the hardest hit of my life. I channeled my inner, I love this line. For those of you who don't know, Brett is, part of his ethnicity is Japanese. So I channeled my inner sumo and just kind of belly bumped him, end quote. He went on to say that coach, and he's referring to Coach Henson, his offensive line coach, really hammered run to the ball. And when you do, nothing but good things can happen. And that's the same message the defense hears. Run to the ball. Good things will happen. Good things are happening to this team right now because they're all on the same page. They're all buying in. They're all trusting the message. They're loving this new culture. And so look, let's give Brett Neilon and the Neilon Nudge and this USC offensive line a bunch of credit. They've been really good so far this year. How good? Let's go over this stat. Their number, so 4 games in, as a team, they're 32nd in the nation. That doesn't sound good when you're only number 32. But what does sound good, USC is rushing the ball for 195 yards per game. 195 and a half. Or as Greg Katz would say, 195.5. Whatever's on the teleprompter, he reads. I love Greg. He's one of my favorite mensches. And a mensch, by the way, in Yiddish is the highest compliment you could ever pay somebody. Look it up. M-E-N-C-H, mensch. Greg is the host of Inside the Trojan Huddle. That's the weekly podcast that I'm a part of. Anyways, so USC is averaging just under 200 yards a game running the ball, and they are 16th in the country nationally in yards per attempt. That'll get it done. So, yeah, you're going to have both Cortland Ford and Bobby Haskins 100% ready to go. You're going to see them rotating back. We'll see who gets the start. You know, I don't know, I'll say, I don't know, the last episode I said, you know, did Bobby separate himself, you know, with the way he played every snap against Oregon State. And we did find out after practice on Tuesday that Cortland could have played if necessary, but they really wanted to give that ankle just one more game off to get right. Sure, okay. I'll give the benefit of the doubt on that one. If he was ready to go, why wasn't he playing? Is all I'm going to say. I anticipate seeing him playing quite a bit Saturday against Arizona State. I also anticipate seeing a pretty big crowd. Again, get out there, support the team. 7:30 p.m. kickoff, and let's see the team get to 5-0, because after that you got Washington State, and then you've got the big one looming with Utah. So again, I apologize. No bells and whistles. You don't get to see the banners and all that cool intro music. And I'm just going to say, until our next episode of Locked On USC,